officially flipped to December. Every game from here on out for the Dallas Cowboys is a must-win. Time is dwindling to catch those that are in front of them as Dak Prescott and company get ready to take on Thursday Night Football, their third game in 12 days. CeeDee Lamb has packed his bags for Detroit, and they are ready to face Ford Field's finest as the Detroit Lions are at home. They also play 3 games in 12 days, and this one feels like a playoff atmosphere, to say the least, on Thursday Night Football. Welcome in to Cowboys Pregame Live, presented by WinStar World Casino and Resort, alongside Barry Church, Nate Newton, and Isaiah Stanback. I'm Kyle Yeoman, soon to be joined by Nicole Hutchison and Nick Eatman out there on the sidelines at Ford Field. So lots to talk about this week, but really the biggest conversation has been how well the Cowboys have been playing as of late. They've put together multiple wins in a row, a 3-game win streak for the first time since the middle of the 2023 season. It started in their first game following the bye week with a 33-16 win on the road against the Las Vegas Raiders. Then they come back home and they defeat the reigning Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles in a divisional showdown before taking on the Kansas City Chiefs, the reigning AFC champions, with a 31-28 Thanksgiving Day win. They feel like a team that can make a run here, going from 3-5-1 now to 6-5-1. Do you feel like this is a team that has a chance to make something happen?
Yeah, I do feel like this is a team that has an opportunity to have something special. But to me, the only way that this winning streak pays off, that this winning streak turns into something special, is if you're able to run off the rest of these games and get into the playoffs. Other than that, if you're not getting into the playoffs, other than that, to me, it's just a good story. It's something that happened. They turned the season around. They got momentum going into next season, all that good stuff. But in order to make this winning streak count, you've got to win the rest of these games, and you've got to get into the playoffs. To me, that's what makes that streak special.
It started with the Raiders. There was ultra focus for them due to the fact that they lost one of their teammates. Then they went into the Philadelphia game, and their defense was lights out in the second half. Now you go to Kansas City where you facing Mahomes, another name this guy here calls him, but anyway, we facing Mahomes. And they took over that game. Now, can you focus on a team that is basically, to me, one-dimensional, and that's Detroit? Can you physically – we went out and got Quinny for this reason. When we face the ultra-focused teams that like to run, can we stop the run tonight?
Yeah, I think that the Dallas Cowboys are doing one heck of a job of building upon their success. Obviously, these guys already laid it out for you. It started out there at a Raiders game. I think it started with the trade, right? Obviously, bringing in Quinnen Williams, Logan Wilson, bringing in a couple of those guys, getting guys healthy on the defensive side of the ball, and then getting CeeDee Lamb back and finding a way to disperse the ball to him and George Pickens effectively. They're building on their confidence. They're building on their success that they're having. Now, to these guys' points, they have to continue to do so. We obviously understand that in order for them to have a successful season, they can't drop any games from this point forward, especially against NFC woes like the Detroit Lions. But one thing that I foresee, or that I believe that has taken place, is every one of these last games has been a different type of challenge. The Philadelphia Eagles match up well against you. You guys are literally built to beat each other. They took care of business. The Kansas City Chiefs, in terms of the psychology, right? That was a battle of coordinators. Andy Reid's one of the best to ever do it. You overcame that. You overcame Spags on the defensive side. That was one thing that you overcame. And now you have to go out here and take care of the physicality. This will be your most physical game that you've had all season long. Every time you play Detroit, you know what you're getting. So the Dallas Cowboys have this challenge to check off their box. If they can get past this game, I think their season is going to be looking really well.
Well, let's talk about that a little bit, because the NFC playoff picture is a bit muddied at the moment. Both of these teams playing tonight are on the outside looking in. Detroit currently as the 8th seed. They sit at 7-5. Dallas not benefiting from that tie at the moment against Green Bay. You wish you had that one in hand, and then you would really be in a pretty good spot with the third easiest remaining schedule as time goes on. But as you look ahead in the division, Philadelphia not playing a stellar brand of football. They've lost 2 straight. They even had their own fans booing them inside Lincoln Financial Field when they fell to the Chicago Bears. Even Santa Claus was walking out of the building. They had multiple Cowboys fans cheering online, including this meme created. How about that? Jason Momoa right back behind, getting ready to take down the Philadelphia Eagles, of course, representing the Cowboys there. So that poses the question, Isaiah, do you feel like an NFC East crown is a real possibility if Philadelphia slips up again.
Yeah, I mean, all you can control is what you do week in and week out. Yeah. So I believe that there is an opportunity, obviously just being right behind Philadelphia in terms of the rankings. But the reality is you took care of Philadelphia. That's what you can control. Now you can't afford to lose any games, right? I already mentioned you definitely can't lose Detroit. If you lose tonight, you're out of the picture altogether.
Yeah, really.
But you have to be able to go out there and win week by week. And I know that sounds really basic and that sounds really PC, but it's the real, right? If you lose a game, you're pretty much out. If you win your game, you hope one of the teams slip up. That's just the position that you're in.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, it's coach speak. It's, what everybody goes out there and says. But it's reality right now with the Dallas Cowboys. You can only control what you can control. Right now, it's going against the Detroit Lions. But a guy like me, I can speak on it. When you talk about the Philadelphia Eagles in this situation, I believe they did leave the door slightly open for the Dallas Cowboys to go in there and take the NFC crown. I mean, if you look at what the Eagles have been able to do these past 2 games, they really have not played a great brand of football, and they look like a team that's going in the opposite direction of the Dallas Cowboys. One, you look at the game versus the Cowboys, put up 21 points easily. It looks like it's going to be a blowout, but then the Cowboys march on back, and that Philadelphia offense is shut out in the entire second half of that. Then you fast forward to the Chicago Bears game where they got pushed around in the trenches. All right, the Chicago Bears rushed for 281 yards on that Philadelphia defense at the link. And that's supposed to be the strength of the Philadelphia defense, is that front 7 with Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, and those boys, and they got embarrassed in their own home field against the Chicago Bears. So for me, they're leaving the door slightly ajar, but it's up to the Cowboys to take care of business and get it done.
We said here a couple of weeks ago, all the turmoil and dissatisfaction with the Eagles, it didn't matter because they were winning. Now they have lost a few games. What do we do now? What can they do? They have the inside guys to make themselves stand tall and finish this season strong? We don't know, but we do know the Cowboys have made some moves, and their players are confident.
Yep.
They feel good. Their coach is on fire with how he's handling these guys. All they have to do is stay focused. The truth speaks. That's what I say. When you're talking about one game at a time, when you're in a desperate situation, that's truth speak. And Barry, you said it best. You got to do your job. Yeah.
And that's the thing is, as media personalities, we can stand up here and talk about the possibilities and the scenarios and everything that's going to happen over the final month of the regular season. But Brian Schottenheimer, good news for you, Isaiah. You said it was coach speak. You said it was exactly kind of the cliche you want to hear. That's what he's saying whenever it comes to this football team. Here's what he said earlier in the week.
I'm not thinking about winning the division. I'm thinking about throwing a great practice today and then having great meetings this afternoon and cleaning up the things that we got to do and then putting together a great third down plan. Like from day one, I've told you guys, and it's what I believe, and there's different styles. When you start looking too far ahead, whether it's game 1, preseason, end of season, you take your eye off what really matters. And I think that's when you don't perform to your maximum capabilities because you're distracted. I told the guys a little bit today, just because we've won 3 games, that doesn't change anything. We're going to go out there today and we're going to be very intentional about throwing a great practice. We're going to go out there, run around in shells. We got to really focus on the fundamentals. I think focusing on the skills that help you play at an elite level is what's going to help us continue to sustain success and win games moving down into the latter part of the season and put ourselves in position to make the playoffs, whatever that looks like.
About how it's one game at a time and everybody's focus on this matchup with the Detroit Lions this week on Thursday Night Football. Let's head out to Detroit inside Ford Field, luckily indoors and in the heating because it is a cold winter day up there in Motown. We've got Nick Eatman on the sidelines. And Nick, you just heard it from Brian Schottenheimer a moment ago. The current focus of the team is one game at a time. But what can Cowboys fans be excited about when it comes to the playoff hopes that are in store?
So clearly, Kyle, you're just not going to you're not going to listen to Coach Schottenheimer. You're just going to skip ahead to the playoffs here. No, I like it. You know what? That's what they need to focus on. They need to focus on that. For us, we'd like to look at the big picture, and this game right here certainly affects that. And any kind of talk about this, what the Cowboys team wants to do, what goals that they've set, they've got to have this game. That's the hole that they dug themselves. And so this is probably the toughest game remaining on the schedule. They're all going to be tough. But, if the Cowboys want to make the playoffs, they got to keep this thing rolling. And this is probably the biggest game in front of them because it's the next one.
No doubt about that. And, of course, you'll need a big outing from Dak Prescott at the quarterback position. He's been the most consistent piece of this Cowboys team throughout the season. So I guess from the outside looking in, do you feel like Dak Prescott should be in the MVP conversation right now, along with some of those other top names in the NFL? I
don't. No disrespect to him, but he's got 5 losses right now, and some of them, it's not really on him. It's obviously the defense. He's done the best job that he could, with playing basically a one-sided, team with the offense the way it is. Now the defense is coming on, and guess what? They've won 3 in a row. But he can change that narrative because he can keep winning, and they can do that. Sounds like Comeback Player of the Year is an award that maybe has his name on it. But if he keeps winning, which starts to, this game starts tonight, if he keeps doing that, keeps building these wins, maybe some of those other teams kind of come, back down to that level, then I think that's something that could be in the equation. But right now, he's just got to figure out a way to beat Jared Goff.
No, I think it's a great point because you look at Drake May and what he's doing statistically while also winning 10 games already this season with the New England Patriots. It's certainly a conversation if they can continue winning, but the defense did not help Dak prior to the bye week. We've seen a different defense over these last 3 weeks. What is the ceiling for Matt Eberflus's unit as they continue these final 5 games of the year?
Well, this whole defense has kind of been inside out here in the last few weeks. I mean, you've seen much better play from the defensive tackle position, and Quinnen Williams is the reason there, and he's made the other guys better, and now he spreads out. Now the ends are playing better. The linebackers there, Logan Wilson, Overshown, now everyone else is playing better, and the safeties are back. So it's kind of been an inside-out type of situation, but it's these guys right down the middle have helped all 11 and then some that really turned this defensive thing around.
Yeah, one of the best turnarounds in football post-bye week. That Cowboys defense has been playing at an extremely high level. We'll see if they can continue that tonight. Nick Eatman, thanks so much for taking some time out there at Ford Field. Stay warm on your way out of the building, and, of course, we'll talk to you again next week. There he goes, Nick Eatman on the sideline. Now, of course, talking about that Cowboys defense, there's been a complete overhaul with that unit. Nicole Hutchison has more about how this team can bring some more heat to the Cowboys this year.
They say there's always 2 sides that tell a story. For Dallas, their preface illustrated a unit struggling with structure, inconsistent run fits, explosive plays allowed as a result of poor communication.
That's not good enough. We keep digging ourselves a hole, man. We can't do that.
That quickly led to them becoming one of the league's worst run defenses in 2025 through the first 9 weeks.
Yeah, as of late, it's not good enough. Just plain and simple. So that's something that we're still, just planning to improve. Like, we're work our asses off every day.
But every story turns a page, and Dallas found theirs at the trade deadline. And the arrival of Quinnen Williams became the prologue to a very different defense.
He's just a difference maker, very disruptive. I mean, he's got size, he's got speed, he's got play style that fits what we want to do. And anytime you get a chance to add a guy like Quinnen to your team, you're crazy if you don't do it.
Now the body of the story is where the shift becomes clear. Quinnen Williams anchoring the interior, tightening fits, giving Dallas the presence it lacked for months.
It's coming. Quinnen Williams got there. And welcome to the Dallas Cowboys.
Honestly, it's just great to have a dog out there, you know what I mean? Like, it just elevates the whole defense.
Everybody just execute, man, to the best of their ability. Everybody just been firing on all cylinders when it comes down to doing their job the best of their ability and feeding off each other, learning from each other, pushing each other, holding each other accountable.
If you check the appendix, it won't lie. Dallas, in their last 3 wins, led the league in fewest yards allowed to running backs with just 117 on 36 carries. Also jumped from bottom of the league in rushing yards a game allowed to 20th. And yes, every arrow points to Quinnen's arrival, but he'll be the first to say,
one person can't change the thing, man. One person can't affect the game, and for win losses, it's a team effort. It's a unit effort, especially on defense.
And he's right. In Vegas, 6 new faces took the field together that included DeMarvion Overshown, Logan Wilson, and Savone Revel that debuted the new-look Cowboys defense.
We got an opportunity right here, guys. We got an opportunity. opportunity right here to display our style.
Now 3 wins later and 5 games slated. They're chasing a finish worthy of a final chapter.
We still have a lot of things to clean up, a lot of things to kind of get better in, but I think we're going in the right direction to be the defense that we want to be.
And now Nicole Hutchison joins us here on set inside the Globe Live studios. You talked vividly about the Cowboys defense and how it's completely changed from a mindset to a physicality, all in between. But really, this is a defense that continues to move forward.
Absolutely. I mean, and you asked head coach Brian Schottenheimer about what the ultimate change was for this defense. He'd say, of course, the political thing is, Matt Eberflus, sends in the plays to Kenneth Murray, Logan Wilson, but ultimately the safeties do get the guys in their right spots. But I'm here to tell you that I think that Quinnen Williams would have a word with that, just because, you talk about how he's elevated some of those guys. He has told DeMarvion Overshown, hey, man, they got to block me, so you're going to be free. You're going to be able to make plays. So when you have a guy that demands that type of play from the entire roster, really, I mean, I'd like to say that he is ultimately the change that's helped this defense.
And you're right. I mean, that's what it's been. And there's a reason why the Cowboys are 3-0 since Quinnen Williams joined this team. And everybody's starting to take notice of it, including opposing running backs. How about Ashton Genty, held to 7 yards on 6 carries? Saquon Barkley, widely renowned as one of the top running backs in the country, 22 yards. Kareem Hunt did have some success. Give him credit. But he was still held under 60 yards. Some of the top running backs in the league all held without it. Let's put you guys in the shoes of an opponent trying to game plan for this Dallas Cowboys front seven. Isaiah, I'll start with you. What are you saying to your team to get them ready and looking at the scouting report for this Cowboys defense?
Well, first of all, you're going to challenge them as men in terms of their matchups. That's the first thing you're going to do, right? You're going to say, hey, you're a professional athlete. These guys are professional athletes. Go out there and do your job. But then the strategy aspect comes in. And if I'm playing against the Dallas Cowboys front, I understand that based upon my personnel, I'm going to have one heck of a challenge on the interior defensive line. I also understand that I can't necessarily out-leverage guys because they're second-level speed. So I'm going to run the screen game. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to run screens on the outside all day long, and I'm going to force their corners to come up and pressure and be able to make open field tackles against our playmakers.
Yeah, when it comes to me, if I'm scouting this Dallas Cowboys defense, all right, I'm saying we got to take care of the middle, all right, because those guys, they have four defensive linemen in there that they can rotate and just play at a high level. I'm talking about Quinnen Williams, Odigizua, Solomon Thomas out there, as well as Kenny Clark. They have 4 guys that can go out there and cause havoc. So I'm saying we got to establish the middle, and if that doesn't work, I got to get my quarterback on the move. All right, I got to make sure I capture the edge and get my quarterback on the move. That way I can extend the play versus this secondary, because this secondary has yet to show me that they can lock down in and down out. So I'm coming at these wide receivers and I'm challenging them to, look, you have to win your one-on-one opportunities against these corners and safeties. Now, if they go out there and lock us up, then I have to turn around to my ground game, which I'm very confident in with Gibbs and Montgomery out there. So for me, I got to make sure I establish the middle, make sure that doesn't affect my quarterback out there. And if it does, got to move the pocket, and I'll see what these wide receivers can do on the outside as well.
Early in the game, I'm going to wham block them. What I'm going to do is I'm going to let them run straight up the field, let them penetrate, and I'm going to hit them from the side with tight ends. I'm going to hit them from the side with my H-backs. I'm going to pull around and try to get outside, but always thinking my ultimate goal is to get on the edges. I'm going to make Donovan and those guys, I'm going to make them pay the price for having such a good defensive interior.
Yeah, all 3 guys said it perfectly. I mean, I'm attacking the edges because that interior is a problem. But when you look at the success, I look back to Andy Reid and what Petula and the players that they played for the Eagles and Chiefs the last couple of weeks, and they said that this defense is stressing. The way that they try to use these different looks, the 5-man fronts and things like that, they forced you to win your, what does Isaiah like to say, mano y mano, and win up front, okay? So, I mean, they've done a good job of wrecking opponents' run games and also just making you one-dimensional. So if I'm telling this offense to be prepared, I'm saying get ready because it's going to be a show.
Yeah, anytime those guys are one-on-one, it's a problem. Yeah. So they're not going to be one-on-one, especially Quinnen Williams. And you mentioned that earlier, what he's been telling to guys like Donovan Ezeraku and DeMarvion Overshown because of his impact. And he continues, despite facing one of the highest double-team rates in the NFL, to have one of the highest PFF grades in the league at the defensive tackle spot since he joined the Cowboys 3 weekends ago. So beating double teams, making everybody else around him better, continuing to take his game to another level in a new city, a new situation. Nate, I'm going to ask you, is he establishing himself as the best defensive tackle in football.
He's a top 2. Without a doubt. Now, this other kid, that's with the Carolina Panthers. He's a beast, too. Brown is a beast, too.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he the man. That's all I'm going to say. Yeah.
Just keep it simple.
Yeah, simple and sweet, man. I'm with Nate on this one. I'm not so sure if he's, the best, but since he's come with the Dallas Cowboys, it sure has looked like he's been one of the best defensive tackles in the National Football League. I mean, when we look at it, he's the #1 defensive tackle as far as run-stop rate in the National Football League. And what he's been able to do as far as creating that interior pressure on opposing quarterbacks has really helped out this defense and helped out this secondary as a whole. And to me, it kind of reminds me of that Amari Cooper trade a couple years ago when the offense was struggling. They brought in Amari Cooper, and he was able to be that catalyst to kind of produce for that offense. It's similar to what Quentin Williams is able to do for this defense. Since he's gotten here, things have been turned around, and like Nicole said, he's probably the main catalyst for that.
I don't know how you can dispute that he wouldn't be the best right now. He's playing the best. Whether he is the best or not, he's playing the best right now since he's gotten to Dallas. I don't know if you guys have noticed the impact he's had, but in 3 games, this dude has 1.5 sacks, 7 QB hits, and 19 QB pressures in 3 games. The Dallas Cowboys defense went from allowing 140-plus yards average on the ground per game in the first 9 weeks to since he's been here, they're only averaging 70 yards per game against the Dallas Cowboys. So he's making a tremendous impact. You have to say that he's the best player at his position right now in the NFL.
And to add to those numbers, 16 run tackles resulting in a loss or no gain. That's first amongst defensive tackles. Also 29 run tackles resulting in unsuccessful plays for an offense. That's the 6th most of defensive tackles. If that's not one of the best, then I don't know what to tell you.
Well, and you've had conversations with Quentin since he's arrived. I mean, his mentality has never wavered, right?
No, not at all.
What are some of those conversations, and what has been his mentality since he arrived?
Just to do his job. Like, that's one of the biggest things, that he's not worried about nobody else, right? If I'm able to do my job, which is create pressure, stop the run as well, everybody else can be able to do their job. And that's pretty much been his mentality.
And Isaiah, that's what you want to see from a nasty interior defensive lineman. That was why you wanted to trade for him in the first place, to give him credit once again, because he loves getting the credit.
Listen, Quentin Williams is exactly what you want. You want a dominant interior defensive lineman that demands the respect and the attention of the opposing offensive coordinators. That's what you want. He's making the guys around him better, as everybody up here has just laid out for you. But the thing is, he's level. He is level-headed. He's not gassing himself up. He's not tooting his own horn. He understands that when I step on the field, I have a job to do, and either I'm going to make the play or I'm going to allow somebody else to make the play. And then he goes on to the next play and goes on about his business. He is exactly how you want your players to be. There's different personality types, right? I know Nate Dogg's played with a lot of different personalities. We all have. But I love the way he comes in and just checks the box and does his job week in and week out.
And that's what he'll continue to do. And one of the things that he has done at a high level is win the money down, which Barry Church is.
Oh, yeah.
What is the money down?
Third down.
Third down. Come on. He was already getting hyped up for what Quentin Williams was doing. But that's been a big shift in this defense as well. Not just the personnel, but the execution on the big downs. 3rd and 4th down efficiency has taken a step from the bottom of the league to, honestly, one of the middle teams in the league, if not upper echelon of the league. Here's what Matt Eberflus had to say about that.
It's just about guys, really, doing the jobs and making sure we're on the same page. And those guys have done a good job with that. It's a little bit tighter coverage. We've had some of that. Mixing up the coverage looks, you got to be able to do that. And then really it comes down to the most important thing is the pressure. If it's 4-man, 5-man, or if we're sending a guy off the ball, whatever that might be, that's been really good. We got a lot of good hits on the quarterback, pressure on the quarterback, collapse in the pocket, making them feel it from the middle, from the outside, and I think that's always a big part of it. And the first job you got to have in pass defense or in situational defense. It's been fun. It's been fun to, the biggest enjoyment that I have is as a coach is seeing the guys execute and them having fun doing it. And that to me is the biggest fun that you could have as a coach, and that's why you do the job. You coach somebody, teach them, and they go out there and execute, and they're having fun doing it. That to me is exciting, and that's why I do this job.
There are a lot of Cowboys fans out there that deserve to give Matt Eberflus a little bit of credit here, maybe even an apology, depending on how tough you were giving it to Matt Eberflus in terms of what was happening through the first 9 games of the season. But to go from the bottom of the league in 3rd down efficiency to top 10, Isaiah, we've had conversations on our podcast previously that you have to just be serviceable. They haven't been serviceable. They've been good. What's been the biggest change on 3rd down?
I think it's just the fact that you have to respect those two monsters in the middle. I mean, it's pure mathematics. When you have those two guys, Kenny Clark and Quentin Williams in the middle, it takes three guys. Three guys have to block two guys, right? And last time I checked, there were only two other guys left on the offensive line. So everybody else has those one-on-one matchups. And people are so in-depth to talk about Quentin Williams only in the running game. He's a pass rushing monster as well. When he's on the field, since he's been with the Dallas Cowboys, the Dallas Cowboys have a 44% QB pressure rate when he's on the field. When he's not on the field, I'm not even talking about before he could join the team. When he's not on the field, it's only 22%. So you go from top 5 when he's on the field to when he's not present on the field, bottom 5 in the league. It's apparent that he is the core and the heart of this defense at this point in time. He makes everybody else better.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, when you look at it defensively for the Dallas Cowboys, I think there's two things that, got them better on third down. One, like Isaiah said, you're able to get pressure on the quarterback. I mean, in the first 9 weeks, quarterbacks were able to sit back in the pocket, maybe call wifey, whatever the case may be, and then throw the football out there. They had that much time. But with Quentin Williams out there applying those one-on-ones, the quarterbacks have been on the move, and they haven't been able to sit there and be comfortable in the pocket. And secondly, they become better on first and second down. When you've seen third downs, the first 9 weeks, they were all kind of third and manageables, 3rd and 3, 3rd and 4, 3rd and 5. And Isaiah can attest to this. When you get those down in distances, the whole offensive playbook is wide open. So it becomes harder to stop. But when you get into these 3rd and 10s, 3rd and 12s, 3rd and 15s, then you're able to get these defensive linemen to pin their ears back and get after the quarterback. And the offensive playbook shrinks in that regard. So to me, those are the two things that kind of helped this defense get better on third down.
I cannot add to that. But I promise you, that is what Coach Eberflus told Mr. Jones. If you go get this dog in the middle, we can manufacture some sacks. We can manufacture some pressures. And that's what they're doing right now. It's great what you said, because I believe in that. You went from a team that stayed in 3rd and 2, 3rd and 3. The change was always even with the play caller. He could do whatever he wanted. He can be in fantasy land. But now, 3rd and 10 is hard to deal with. 3rd and 9, 3rd and 7 is hard to deal with. With these guys getting up at Olsen, all of these guys, and Quinny and Clark getting after these guys, and young Donovan, man.
As a Raku out there.
He was 4 weeks ago. He was 5 steps away from the man trying to throw a double move. Now he up on dudes, running past dudes. Man, Quinny, come on now.
Listen, I want to throw a question to both of you guys. You guys played this game at a high level. Big Nate Dogg, as an offensive guard, right? Obviously, you guys had the big wall. You guys were beasts up front. When you had a dominant interior defensive lineman,
Jerome Brown,
how did that change your blocking responsibility?
I stayed in fear. I mean, I'm telling you, me and him, homeboys, Florida.
Yeah.
When I played against him, I always give me a hand.
Yeah.
Hey, Stepnoski, give me a hand. Hey, man, we got to stay down on this deuce block. We got to make sure we deuce this dude out of here before we even go at the linebacker. That is, and it ain't fear, but it's anxiety.
Yeah.
It's anxiety, bro.
And then for like you, Barry, from a safety position, when you're down in the box, how much does it clear up the picture when you have a defensive lineman in there?
It makes that murky water just clear all the way up. When you got a dominant defensive lineman out there that, is sucking up these double teams out there, your run responsibility, your gap responsibilities are wide open. You see everything out there. You don't have offensive linemen coming up to you. You got to fight off these 300-pounders and able to get to the football. It's all opened up for you. It makes things that much easier in the running game.
And I know as a former quarterback yourself, you loved interior pressure. Like you wanted those guys that could rush up the middle, right? That was a lot easier to deal with.
Get me on the edge now.
He said bootleg every play.
All day.
Get out of there. It's been a lot of fun watching Quentin Williams play and continuing to take this defense to new heights. But as you can see here, this is just a taste of the type of analysis that you get throughout the week on Players Lounge and Hanging with the Boys. Here are clips from each of those podcasts earlier this week.
How do you game plan, Nate, for a team that's real strong both in the pass game and the run game, and both can beat you? They can beat you with either one.
You have to play great. If they coming off the 20, they just stay basic. If they coming off the 20, you have to play situational football. What I mean by that, if they coming off the 20, they play the run. Play the run. Trying to get them behind the chains. What I mean by that right there is if they run that ball, you want 3 yards or less. You need to have them 2nd and 7. Now you can play more towards the pass. But if they are 2nd and 5, you in trouble. What you gonna put out there? You gonna play the run? You gonna play the pass? And now what Jess is talking about with this kid Jameson, he comes into full effect because now I'm gonna take a shot. So you have to play the change, and you have to be very, very disciplined. You have to have that guy up front that's going to demand a double team. You're going to have that guy that demands a double team, and everybody has to win one-on-one. So that's how you beat it.
They have that.
That's how you beat it.
Would this streak be the same way without Quinnen?
No. That's what I'm saying. It's so he brings that defensive aspect up to it, and I think he's on that defensive side of football made a lot of those other guys kind of rise with him, step their game up as well. So definitely Quinnen on the defensive side of the football, and when it comes to Dak and Pickens on the offensive side of the football, I think they've galvanized the troops and really helped this win streak go along. But yeah.
I think it's definitely the players. Honestly, I think the coaches have been pretty consistent for the most part this year. They've had some spotty play calling throughout the season, but overall the play calling hasn't switched. Like we're sticking to our guns. We're still calling that. And so just like I said, it starts with the players and why this stuff is falling apart. Mm-hmm. Not play calling, not communication. It's the players.
You can, of course, catch Hanging with the Boys and the Players Lounge Monday through Friday on DallasCowboys.com. You can also go to DallasCowboys.com and ProBowl.com/vote to vote for your favorite Dallas Cowboys to be a part of this year's Pro Bowl games. Of course, there are plenty of great options there to be a part of the Pro Bowl, but this might be number one in terms of the newcomers for this Cowboys team. George Pickens, what a season he has had in his debut campaign with the boys. Just everything he's done, the deep ball, the underneath routes, scoring touchdowns, leading the NFC in most statistical categories. He's been a godsend for the Cowboys and what they've done throughout the season. Back with Isaiah Stanback, Barry Church, and Nate Newton, I'm Kyle Yeomans, and I got to ask the question, have we seen the ceiling from George Pickens, or is there something else that you can see from him and that he can continue to add to his game?
I mean, can you see it? Can you see it?
Yeah, no,
right, I'm out on that one. I'm not singing.
There's definitely more. And what I want to see out of George Pickens, all right, is him continue to be willing to block out on the edges. I believe that he is a huge threat in terms of the short game. We've seen him be able to get the ball on a slant route and turn it into a big-time game. We've seen him on the contested catches. We've seen him on the deep passes. We've seen him going out there and drawing penalties. Now, I want to see him be dominant. I don't have to be dominant. Just be able to go out there and handle your assignment out on the edges, put some guys in the ground, go out there and crack some safeties. That's going to open up your entire game because now you can start running all kinds of schemes off of that.
Barry's laughing because he doesn't want to be that safety.
I don't want to get cracked.
I don't want
any parts of that. But when you look at Quinnen, or when you look at George Pickens, outside of the blocking, like Isaiah said, I'm not so sure there's much more you want to see from George Pickens. I mean, this is a guy that's dominating his one-on-one opportunities out there. He hasn't been that cancer in the locker room that, a lot of labels have had him coming from Pittsburgh out there. So to me, he's been the receiver that you need to have in your lineup. And if you double team him, you got CeeDee Lamb out there on the opposite side. So he's making it a conundrum for the defenses out there. But to me, overall, he's been the receiver that exactly what you wanted coming from Pittsburgh.
See more, pay more.
Ooh. Oh.
Ooh.
That's what you got, huh?
Okay.
I heard. Are you afraid to pay him though, Nate?
No. Oh, no. He will be here. He will be here next year.
You think so?
Without a doubt. Yes, sir, he will be here. Mr. Jones, you got to find a way, baby. Hey, you the financial genius. I'm just.
You just there, huh?
I'm just sliding something on the way out.
Yeah, maybe a little bit of something. See, but you guys travel a lot, right? Is it cheaper to go travel on the ground, or is it cheaper to travel through air? It's more expensive to travel through the air, right? How about Air George and what he has done this year? Pick your favorite, guys. Okay, so the top one is, of course,
it's the top, but the ball security on the bottom's trash.
Like a local friend.
That is a good point. I mean, if you look at it, look at it right here. The ball's popping out there at that point in time.
It's got to be the top. He fully clears on the top. At the bottom, you got a guy wrapping him up a little bit. He fully clears on the top.
They lost the game on the top, though, and they won the game on the bottom.
That is true.
Look at my man's right here. Look how chilly he is. Look at him, and then look at her. Look at two different.
I tell you, he was rooting for the Chiefs right there.
Yeah. On the Chiefs. One guy didn't know what was happening. That's on the top. The guy on the bottom, he trying to save face. All right. Like when he grabbed so.
That's exactly what it is.
And if you talk about the excitement and what he's done from a highlight standpoint, but the statistical standpoint as well, he's on track to do some really special things for this Cowboys team and throughout the season. Take a look at what he's on on pace for. This is not average. This is not what he's done so far. But if he continues to do what he's doing, over 100 receptions and 1,600 yards, it's really incredible what he's done to this point in the season. He's not the only one having success. Here's what CeeDee Lamb said about his bounce-back game against the Chiefs last week.
It feels good, man. Just overall getting back on the right track. I feel like it's a momentum thing. And as a receiver, I feel like everything is confidence-based. I wouldn't say I lost any confidence. It was just more so just getting in my own head. And I feel like you can't really do that in this position, especially with as many games as we have coming up, or like a short week, or like, just different situations. You can't really let what happened last game, good or bad, reflect on like what's going to happen this one.
If you were in your head, how would you describe the process of getting out of it and being able to take that next step, especially the way you did?
Just be able to cope. You got to be able to understand the problem, being open to solutions, and then at the end of the day, acting on your thoughts. I feel like adversity shows itself in different ways. It's all on how you overcome it. Show characters of a man when he goes through his worst times. And I feel like it's even better when you overcome it, and then you see the other side, and you're like, yeah, I don't think I want to go back on that side again.
So a big bounce-back game for CeeDee Lamb last week against the Chiefs. He went from the 3 drops that he had against Philadelphia to not having a drop, and he had over 100 yards receiving last week. How big is that, Barry, to see CeeDee Lamb continue to elevate his game despite some of the ups and downs he's seen this season?
Well, he took it upon himself to go out there and be the receiver that we all understand that he could be. He challenged himself, after that game against the Philadelphia Eagles where he had those 3 drops and went out there into this game against the Chiefs. It had 0 drops, 7 receptions, 112 yards, like you just mentioned. So he challenged himself. He accepted that challenge and went out there and performed. And we all know the receiver that he can be. He's an elite wide receiver, top 3 receiver in the National Football League, and that's what he did. He bounced back supremely against the Chiefs.
He was just in a slump, man. That's all it was. If he was a baseball player, you would say he was in a slump. He had 2 bad games in which he dropped the ball. He is human. People are going to say he's getting paid too much money to be dropping the ball. Yeah, he knows that. That's why he got on the jugs machine, and that's why he had a bounce-back game like he had. There's nothing to worry about CeeDee Lamb. The other teams need to be concerned about what he can do to them.
It amazes me, man, that y'all have forgotten who this dude before our guy, the elite player that George Pickens has been. You forgot that this was CeeDee. Yep. This is who CeeDee is. This is what he does. So y'all stop with that, man. CeeDee is.
Hold on, you're not talking to us about.
Yeah, no.
Just making sure. Hold on now. Wait a second.
I'm talking to
the people. Yeah.
Make it very clear to me, dude. CeeDee Lamb still doing big-time work. Alongside George Pickens, this is what it's been for CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens.
Yes.
And I think you would rather it be this way than some of the problems they've had in the receiving corps in the past. Huge credit to the Cowboys front office for making that move earlier in May. One of the guys who made the move, Stephen Jones, is now joining Tommy Yarish on the sideline at Ford Field. Tommy.
All right, back here in Detroit with Cowboys COO and co-owner Stephen Jones. Stephen, thanks for making some time. Jadeveon Clowney not able to go for you guys tonight. What came out of his pregame workout, and what do you want to see from the rest of that group against a really stout Detroit run game that likes to attack the edges?
Well, I think the big thing is, he just couldn't really get open. He couldn't open up and do what he wanted to do in his mind to be effective during the game. Flip side of that is Houston will get more snaps and Land will be up, and still feel like our guys will go out there and do a great job. Clowney's been playing real well for us, but I think our guys will step up and get the job done.
And then this game specifically, I know you guys look at it week to week, but as we get down to the rest of the season, this is a really big one for you. What do you want to see from your team tonight, a team that when they've come up here, especially offensively in the past, they've played pretty well?
Yeah, I think the big thing is just keep building on what we've been doing the last 3 games. We've obviously put 3 wins in a row, and we've been executing on offense, defense, and special teams, and we've got to continue to do that. I think defensively we're starting to get an identity. We're executing on that side. Obviously, this team has a great running attack. The Lions do, and but we've been playing well against the run with the addition of now having the 3 tackles. They do a great job, and so we obviously need to stop the run there. They got one of the premier backs in Gibbs. And then just watching St. Brown warm up, they're probably going to have him as well. So, we're going to have a challenge. At the same time, offensively, we've been moving the ball well all year. And we need to run the ball, and we need to get the ball to our playmakers. And, as usual, have Dak play a great game.
You mentioned the defense starting to get an identity. How would you describe that identity that they're building for themselves, especially these last 3 weeks, the way they've played?
I think they're just playing fast. They're playing with confidence. I think they're understanding, the scheme and what's expected of them. And, when you don't have to think as much and you go out there and play fast, good things will happen. And, that's the way I would say we're playing right now. We're running to the ball, obviously having guys like Overshone back out there and Hooker and Dono make a huge difference as well. And I just see us running to the football, tackling accurately, getting that job done, and, getting them out. I mean, that's the important thing, and then get the ball back to that offense and let them do what they do best.
I know one guy you're excited to get back on this defense is Trayvon Diggs. Couldn't go this week. What went into that from this week in terms of where he's at medically, and are you expecting him maybe next week?
One thing people forget, if you sit out from playing football for a month, which is what happens when you're on IR, it usually does take a little build-up time to get back to doing what you do best. And certainly we just felt like he wasn't quite ready to play at the level we need him to play. And certainly he'll go back to work next week and get after it, and we'll see where we go from there.
And then last one here for you. You're obviously confident riding a 3-game winning streak. What does a win tonight do for the confidence of this team heading into the last 4 games?
Yeah, I mean, obviously we dug ourselves a little bit of a hole. And, we're to a point now where every game's almost like a playoff game. It's so important. And, to go out here if we can play well and get the victory, which we need to do, that just sets us up for the next week. And that's what we have to do right now, 1 week at a time. Everything that's been on this team's mind is the Detroit Lions. And if we can get that done, then we'll worry about the next opponent.
Stephen Jones, thanks so much for the time. Best of luck tonight.
Thank you, guys.
Of course, the duos on display today. A little yin and yang from CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens has been on display all year long. You could say the same thing for the last few seasons from the Detroit Lions side of things. How about Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery? 2 of the best offensive duos that we've seen throughout the NFL on display today. Back with Isaiah Berry and Nate. I'm Kyle Yeomans, and guys, we got to talk about each of these duos a little bit in depth. And I want you guys to tell me, how would you defend each one of them? Let's start with our very own CeeDee Lamb, George Pickens. Barry, you're the resident secondary defender, so we'll let you kick things off. How do you defend the duo that the Dallas Cowboys have at receiver?
Well, first and foremost, Kyle, I'm keeping my safeties deep. All right, I'm keeping my safeties deep.
Just to play it safe.
Just to play it safe. I know that might lead, the box light against the run, but we'll take that. All right, I'm taking my safeties deep. And what I'm doing against Pickens is I'm doubling Pickens. All right, I'm getting the corner out there to press coverage against Pickens, get his hands on him, bless him over there, and I'm going to have the safety over the top to make sure he doesn't get anything deep over the top. Now, I understand that might leave CeeDee Lamb, one-on-one or in those situations, but I know for a fact if we leave George Pickens one-on-one in that situation, one, he's not going to drop the football, and secondly, he's been proven that one-on-one coverage is not the answer. So I'm getting hands on George Pickens, having a safety over the top. CeeDee Lamb, you can do a little one-on-one in the slot. We're going to have a safety over top protecting as well, but that's the way I'm defending these two. I mean, it's a lose-lose situation for defensive coordinators out there.
Yeah, it's definitely not a great situation for D coordinators, but I'm going to go ahead and try my best to play a defensive coordinator right now. I am playing 2-man. And what 2-man is, you walk guys up to the line of scrimmage, just like Barry was saying, but you sit them on the inside shoulder. You sit them on the inside shoulder. That means they're closer to the interior of the field. And then you go up there and, like Barry said, you bless them at the line of scrimmage. You put some hands on them. You disrupt their ability to get off the line of scrimmage with a free release. And then you're pretty much just sitting in their hip pocket. As they're running their routes, you're sitting in their hip pocket. You're mirroring, you're shadowing them, everything that they do with those safeties over the top that Barry was just talking about. If they want to put a guy in the slot, well, you just play 2-man with a match on the inside. But either way, I need somebody on their hip pocket. I need somebody over the top. Gonna make a nice little ice cream sandwich.
What kind of sandwich?
Ice cream sandwich.
Oh, wow.
All right, Nate.
Simply this right here. I'm going to do what Barry talking about. I'm going to keep my safeties over the top. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to entice them to use the tight end. Because I'm going to double these guys. I'm going to pull a Bill Belichick. I'm going to stay on top of these guys no matter where we're at on the field. I'm going to make that tight end, Jay Ferguson, beat me. That's how it's got to be. I'm taking, if they want to run the ball, you can run the ball. But two guys I know will not beat me, and that's those two guys, CD and George Pickens.
Yeah, there you go, and they're both making their way into the stadium there. Cowboys, we know what they bring on the offensive side. We also know what Detroit brings from a run game element. Jahmyr Gibbs, David Montgomery, Sonic and Knuckles, as they like to call them, up there in Detroit. They're tied right now for the most games where they've each scored a touchdown with the greats that Nate used to block for, Darryl Moose Johnston, and, of course, Emmitt Smith. So that's a pretty good company to be in with this duo. How do you defend this duo, Barry, if you're on the opposite side?
This one's a little tough as well because both of these running backs are extremely dynamic in such different ways. But when it comes to Montgomery, I'm using that, both of these backs, I'm using that 5 defensive line front that Eberflus has been using these past couple weeks. When it comes to Montgomery, I'm making sure my linebackers, when he has the football, are downhill. All right, you got to meet this guy before he starts going. Once he gets that momentum going, he's hard to bring down. And when it comes to Gibbs out there, I'm making sure that we have the edges set. This is a guy that has speed and is extremely explosive. He's a home run threat that once he puts his foot in the ground and gets on the outside, it's going to be hard to bring him down. So I got to make sure my edges are set on the outside and my linebackers are downhill, but that's the way I would try to contain these two running backs.
What I would do is call a wide 9.
You're all the way over there.
I'm going way out the TV. I'm going way out. I ain't letting this boy Jahmyr Gibbs get outside.
No, sir.
It's called a wide 9, baby. And you bring everything inside. You setting the edge because you pass rushing right to the tackles. Yeah. That's how you do it. And the other guy, Montgomery, you just hold your breath, baby, and hope he don't run you over.
So since Nate wants to wide 9 and get outside, let's let Isaiah break this down a little bit here. Let's get a football in here.
We're going to show this thing real quick. All right, in this demonstration right here, I am going to first beat David Montgomery. All right, Kyle is going to be Mr. Jared Goff.
Nice.
Right? And then Big Nate Dogg is going to do what he does up front, be the offensive lineman, okay?
Yeah.
And then I'm going to let Barry Church do what he does and play safety.
He's
So,
a defender,
in this scenario, okay, we're lined up back here in the backfield. We're going to go ahead and run a zone play to the left. Boom, the ball is snapped. I am David Montgomery. I'm coming right here. I am pressing it. As soon as I see Barry Church right there, I'm going to put my foot in the ground, and I am coming downhill. He wants to run over whoever is in the hole. He doesn't want to run around people. He wants to run through your face. So, David Montgomery averaging 4.5 yards per carry. Now, there's another gentleman on the other side. His name is Jahmyr Gibbs. Now, Jahmyr Gibbs is a little bit different.
Oh, yeah.
He's going to give you a little two different options, okay? So Montgomery's downhill. Jahmyr Gibbs is going to do something like this. Boom, ball to snap. He's getting the ball. Boom, 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 boom. You see Big Nate Dogg pressing it out there. If he wants to go outside right there, boom, I'll take it right here. And then whoever is in the hole, they're going to get the McNasty work, okay? All right, so let's go ahead and change it up. I still have the ball. Barry decides that he wants to go ahead and fit up inside. He tries to come right here. Big Nate Dogg seals that edge. He is hitting the outside. And now you got to deal with this joker running outside with speed that you cannot match because he is just that dynamic. He's quick. He's fast. He's shifty. He can run you over, but he really wants to get to the outside and go all gas, no brakes.
And that's exactly what the Cowboys defense has done a good job at the last few weeks of getting back into a fold of stopping the run and doing so against some of the elite running backs in the National Football League. And they've done a good job. Let's see if they can continue that against the best duo they've seen since the trade deadline. All right, let's take a look at some of the inactives of who will not be available for each of these teams, starting with the Dallas Cowboys. A couple of the normal names on the list, but another name like Jalen Tolbert popping up that you don't necessarily like. Also, Jadeveon Clowney, he was a game-time decision.
Club 42.
Not available this time for Club 42 and company. That means there's a jersey available. We got to get Barry on a flight.
Tolbert and Mingo keep interchanging week in, week out.
It's been back and forth each week. And we talked about the Lions very early in the show dealing with a little bit of injury. How about what they've got up front? They've got Kirby Joseph out. That's a big loss at the second level as well. Their offensive line is already banged up. Multiple guys on IR. This is a Lions team that is on the outside of the playoff picture looking in. And, of course, when you look at that NFC North, my goodness, what a tough division this has been. And the two victims have been Detroit and Minnesota. Minnesota was thought to be a playoff contender, but all of a sudden you have the Bears as one of the top teams, actually the top seed in the NFC at this point in time. And, of course, the Packers continue to win football games with that one blemish being the tie against the Dallas Cowboys back in Week 4. Let's hear from Dan Campbell, of course, a familiar face to Cowboys fans, about what the season has already been like for the Lions.
Yes, there's urgency, but there's not panic. You know, you start taking this to a level of, then that's when guys start making mistakes. Well, I'm going to start trying to do your job, and then I'm out of position to do my job because I'm trying to do your job, and that's when everything breaks down. We know we got our hands full, but we're up to the challenge. We're up to it, and we know what's in front of us. And you can't worry about the other teams that are out there, the other teams that are in front of you, or what it looks like in the NFC. You just can't, and it doesn't matter. You went out, you might not get in, but you don't know, right? Hell, maybe it only takes 11 to get in. I don't know, but I know this. We got to win this one. We got to win this one. So let's worry about that right now.
Group taste.
Of course, Dan Campbell certainly been a team where, or been a part of this team where he wants to defeat his former squad. Once a player here, he of course wanted to be a coach here. He was talking about that when he was underneath Bill Parcells during his time in Dallas. And just the 2 games that he's faced, they're 1-1. A classic game at AT&T Stadium 2 years ago, that 20-19 final where he went for 2 4 different times. They had the declared player where they converted, they called it back. Craziness there. And then last year, he had a little revenge. 47-9 was the final score from AT&T Stadium. So when you look at this Lions team, despite the 7-5 record, still a lot of talent on that side of the ball. And as you can hear from what he had to say there, they still have belief. Give us a player to watch here, Barry, on somebody that you have to look forward to.
The guy I'm looking forward to watching to see is Jameson Williams. I mean, this is a guy, when you look at it, has all the tools to be one of the best wide receivers in the National Football League. He's extremely explosive. He's a great route runner out there. And when you talk about once he has the football in his hands, the yak yardage this guy can accumulate out there is amazing. This is a guy that you got to understand where he is at all times. I know they got Amon St. Brown out there, who's one of the top 5 receivers in the National Football League. But if you put too much attention on him and you leave Jameson Williams one-on-one out there, and that offensive line is blocking up, Goff has the arm strength to go out there and throw him open. So they got to understand where number 9 is at all times.
Aiden Hutchinson, as I'm pronouncing.
Yeah, Aiden Hutchinson.
Put some respect. A lot of people don't know about this guy or want to ignore this guy because he's not the great athlete, but he's an all-around player. He has 8.5 sacks. He has 3 strip sacks. You got to know where this guy, he lines up on both defensive ends. He'll give you a little bit in the middle every now and then, but his motor never stops. This guy, the big number 90, 76'7", about 290, but he is a lights-out motor all the time.
Of course, coming back from injury, he even said that Dak Prescott reached out to Hutchinson when he suffered the injury last year. They exchanged some text messages back and forth, and now he's second in the NFL in terms of pressures with 65 this year. But, Isaiah, when you look at the film of this defense, new defensive coordinator, no longer Aaron Glenn there as the defensive coordinator, it's a really simplistic look across the board.
It is super simplistic. These guys want to line up and just simply play man-to-man. That is it. That's all they want to do. Line up. I know what you got. You know what I got. You can't beat me. That's the mentality that this Dan Campbell defense has. I think that it's going to be very easy for Dallas and Dak Prescott to diagnose what's going on. It's going to come down to what we were talking about earlier, that mano-a-mano. Can you win your matchups? Can you get off the line of scrimmage with clean releases? And can you make contested catches? If they can do that, I think Dak Prescott has one heck of a day today.
Well, and of course, the offenses have continued to play well throughout the year on both sides. So it may be one of those occasions where you have to outscore the other one. Both of them inside the top 5 of NFL point leaders, but both teams inside the top 3 in points or in yards per game and total offense throughout the year as well. Top 3, and it's only the 7th time since 2000 where those teams have faced off in December or later. So this is an offensive juggernaut matchup. Yep. Barry, what makes these offenses potent on the offensive side?
Well, when I look at it, at the skill position for both teams, they're extremely dynamic everywhere you look. I mean, Amon St. Brown, Jameson Williams, who I just talked about, I know he's out of this game, but Sam Laporta at the tight end position was a dynamite at the tight end. And then you got the running backs as well. And then you look on the Dallas side of the ball, you got obviously the best wide receiver duo in the National Football League. You got Ferg at the tight end spot, and you got a running back back there that can get the job done in Javonte Williams. So when I look at it, they're extremely dynamic all across the board when it comes to these skill positions. And oh, by the way, they both have two dynamic quarterbacks as well that can throw the ball at any angle in the National Football League. So for me, that's what makes both of these teams extremely potent offensively.
Yeah, you just hit on it. You talk about both teams having solid receiving cores. Detroit has some guys that are up and coming. They have a possession guy in Amon St. Brown. Jamison Williams is their deep threat guy. And then they have Tesla, who's their rookie, who's a big-time receiver as well. He's coming along. And then they have the tight end position. Their running backs are dangerous to me. That's the most dynamic part of their offense. Jahmyr Gibbs scares the living daylights out of me. He's the person that you have to be concerned about tonight. And then Dallas. Yeah, Dallas is hitting on all cylinders. It necessarily hasn't happened in one game, but you never know which grouping is going to be the one that takes you out. Is it going to be Jake Ferguson in the red zone? Is it going to be the receiving core with the double-headed monster with CD and George? Or is it going to be Javonte Williams and he's going to go out there and run for 100 yards? You never know, and I think that's the positive thing for the Dallas Cowboys right now, but both teams are super effective.
Yeah. It's all about their run game with Detroit. It's all about Gibbs and Montgomery. If these dudes are lighting it up, they got a chance to win. For us, it's all about our wide receivers. We act like we want to run, but all they doing is, like you said last week, they're just giving them a breather to the wide receivers get back where they want to be, and that's why we're so potent. Our wide receivers, along with end zone Fergie.
I love it. We may hear a little bit about that in bold predictions coming up here in a little bit as well. Let's hear from some of the top Cowboys podcasts this week in Talking Cowboys, and of course, the Girls Talk, Boys Talk podcast.
Oh, there you go.
Don't get it twisted. Kansas City did a pretty good job bottling up the run early in this game. Dallas wasn't getting much on the ground. But they just stick to it. They do. They stick to it until it works, and then when it works, then really from there you can just do whatever you want to do. And I thought that's what they did in the second half of the game.
Because it's play action, right? I mean, they have to respect the run to set up play action, and this is the most we've ever seen Dak under center in his career.
Yeah, heavy play action in this game. That was something that stood out in this game, and I'm excited about that, especially even going into this next week because you got another team that has very heavy play action. So your defense has at least a look-see at kind of like what that is to deal with the offense like that. But to your point, a lot of play action, really trying to set. I felt like Shoddy really was trying to set things up this game.
Yeah, you've got to win out or win all but one. If you lose two more, you're done. And if you lose the wrong ones,
if you lose this one,
this is a wrong one. Week by week.
Okay, which would you rather lose? Of course, you want to win all of this. Let's preface that. This question is a very obvious one in that everybody wants the Cowboys to win every single game the rest of the season and in the playoffs.
Of course.
But if you had to drop one, I want to see if you agree with me. You can't drop Detroit. Which one of these on this remaining schedule would you?
It'd be the Chargers.
Yeah,
because it's an AFC.
That's why.
Yeah, you've got NFC teams
this
the rest of the way.
For fans that may not understand the math of it.
You can't drop this one.
No NFC losses.
No NFC losses.
No. And especially not this one. This is the team this is one of the teams that you're chasing. One of the multiple teams, because there's just a bottleneck of teams trying to get into those final couple wild card spots right now. And
we're all in the hunt right now.
Everybody. And if you have a chance to further yourself while also knocking one of those other ones out of the fight, that's what this week's all about.
And also, this is, on top of all of that being true, this is a Detroit Lions team that came into your house last year and hung almost 50 on your neck and held you to only 9 points. So you have all the motivation in the world to now go into their living room and do the exact same thing to them.
Of course, two of the podcasts you can hear on DallasCowboys.com. Some of the rookies doing the most good this week, partnering with the Salvation Army and the Angel Tree program that provides those in need in the North Texas area with Christmas gifts this holiday season. They dressed up in their uniforms, and the Rookie Club helping load the truck here at the Star in Frisco following one of the Cowboys practices this week. It's a tradition that the Cowboys have done for decades now, helping provide for those across the North Texas and the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. Always great stuff with the Salvation Army. Great stuff here inside the Globe Live studios. Back with Nicole Hutchison on set, Barry Church, Nate Newton, Isaiah Stanback. I'm Kyle Yeomans as we wrap up Cowboys pregame live with our bold predictions. Nicole, I'm going to let you start off. In the middle of the desk, you got to set the tone here. What's your bold prediction?
I got this. George Pickens leads all wide receivers in receiving yards today.
In the game? Or
In the game.
Or he's going to, like, surpass Jackson Smith and Jigba by the end of the game?
By all wide receivers that are on that field, he's going to have the most. You said bold.
That is
bold.
I asked her to set the tone.
George Pickens will have on cleats today.
She had a medium
That's
tone.
crazy.
That's all it was. It wasn't spicy.
Dang it.
It wasn't extra hot. It was just medium.
No, let me try again.
Let's go.
Donovan Ezra-Raku,
Let's rock and roll.
2 sacks today.
All right. Barry, what you got?
Look, this defense is going to make, Jared Goff see ghosts out there. I'm saying 2 takeaways for the defense. I don't know if that's 2 interceptions, a fumble, and an interception, but 2 takeaways for the defense.
Now that's bold. What do we got, Nate?
I need for the Cowboys to have 35 minutes time of possession and 130 yards rushing.
Okay, Isaiah.
All right, this is bold, okay? This is what's actually going to happen.
Okay.
Dak Prescott's going to have 4 passing touchdowns.
Ooh.
Okay. For y'all, if y'all looking at any Bonnick's dictionary, that's page 4. It's F-O, fo.
Yeah.
I'll just say 5 of them.
Price is right.
Let's get extra bold in this one. That's going to do it for us here on Cowboys Pregame Live. Again, you can catch us after the game with Cowboys Game Night and the First Word presented by Dr. Pepper. The Cowboys fans already invading Ford Field in Detroit at 7:15 kickoff on Prime Video. Be sure to watch it in the local area. You can also watch it on Fox 4. Enjoy the game, everybody. Cowboys, Lions, playoff hopes on the line in Motown.
George Pickens.